The music in Trader Joe's is slower than your heartbeat. Not a vibe, a lever. Slow the music, and shoppers slow with it. And a slower shopper leaves with about a third more in the bag. Same miles, same prices. So, if you can hear the beat, you're already walking too slow. I found this out the expensive way. Last Tuesday, I went in for milk. One item. I had it in my head the entire drive over. Milk. 40 minutes later, I was standing at my car holding 2 bags, a bag of coffee I don't drink, a candle, and a rotisserie chicken. I want to be honest about the chicken, because the chicken is the tell. I did not want a chicken. I have never once in my life woken up wanting a chicken. But it was warm, and it was turning slowly under a light, and it smelled like a decision that had already been made for me. $61, and no milk. I want to walk you through what actually happened to me in there, because I wasn't weak. I was outnumbered. Start with the doors. You didn't walk into a shop. You walked into a room designed by people who are extremely good at their jobs to keep you inside it longer. Every extra minute you spend in a supermarket is worth money to the supermarket. So everything in that building is quietly bent toward one goal: slow him down. The music is the part nobody notices, which is exactly why it works. Somebody actually tested this properly. Same store, same stock, same prices. The only thing that changed, week to week, was the tempo of the background music. When the music was slow, people physically walked slower. They spent longer in the aisles, they passed more things, and the store's takings went up by nearly 40%. Sit with that. Nobody in that building thought, lovely tempo, I shall purchase more yogurt. Nobody felt persuaded. They just moved slower. That's the whole trick, and it's a good one because it doesn't feel like persuasion. It isn't persuasion. It's pacing. You cannot argue with a tempo. You can only match it. And once you're moving slowly, the shelves get to work. Here's the part that genuinely rearranged how I see a supermarket. Put eye tracking gear on a shopper and watch what their eyes actually do in front of a real shelf. Not what they say they're choosing afterwards. What they physically look at in the moment, in real time. And you find something almost insulting in how simple it is. Whether you rate a product highly has very little to do with the product. It's about whether your eyes landed on it and for how long. Give a brand more room on the shelf, and people think better of it. Not because the extra room told them anything, not because they read a label or compared an ingredient, purely because their eyes stopped there instead of somewhere else. The attention came first. The opinion arrived afterwards and took the credit. The looking is the deciding. The shelf isn't arguing with you. It's just making sure you look. And where does your eye go? Up. Middle and top shelves win your attention. The bottom shelf gets ignored. And it gets ignored by almost everybody. Almost always. So squat down sometime. Genuinely, go on. Look at the bottom shelf in the aisle you use every week. That is frequently where the cheaper version of the exact thing you were about to buy has been sitting the entire time, at your ankles, being invisible. The product at eye level is not there because it is better. It is there because that position sells, and somebody paid real money for that position. Eye level is not a recommendation. It's real estate. Which brings me back to the milk. The milk is at the back. The milk is always at the back. So is the bread. And so are the eggs. You have noticed this your entire life and never once asked why, because it reads as architecture. It isn't architecture. It's a floor plan. The 3 things almost everybody comes in for are placed as far from the entrance as the building physically allows. so that reaching them requires walking past everything else. My milk was 90 feet away. Between me and it were the coffee, the candles, and a chicken revolving under a heat lamp at roughly nose height. I lost. Obviously, I lost. I was one man with a plan against a building with a strategy.
And then, just when you think it's over, there's the checkout. Look at what's kept by the till. Chocolate, batteries, gum, little bright things at the exact height of a bored hand. None of it is what you came for. All of it is small enough to not feel like a decision. And the till is the smartest place in the shop to put that stuff, because of when it happens. You reach the checkout at the end. After the walking, after the comparing, after the 40 small decisions you've already made about brands and sizes, and whether the big one is really better value. You are, by that point, running on fumes.
That's the ambush. Not a hard sell, a soft one, placed precisely where you have the least left to resist it with. And I want to be careful here, because this is where these videos usually get preachy and inform you that you have no self-control. That is not it. That is not what's happening. What's happening is that you're being asked to make 30 or 40 small judgments in a row while moving slowly through a warm, bright room full of color at the end of a working day, using the same tired brain you've been running since 8 in the morning. Nobody is beating your willpower. They're outlasting it.
The store isn't smarter than you. It's more patient than you. It doesn't get tired, doesn't get hungry, doesn't have somewhere else to be at 6. You do. That asymmetry is the entire business model. So here's what actually helps. Not vibes. 4 things. 1, notice the music. This one is almost funny in how well it works, because the entire effect depends on you not clocking it. The second you consciously register the tempo, the spell drops, and you start moving at your own pace again instead of theirs. 2, take a basket, not a trolley. A basket gets heavy, and heavy is a timer. A trolley has no opinion about anything. A trolley will carry a rotisserie chicken you don't want for as long as you like and never once complain. 3, look down, once per aisle. That single squat is the highest paid 10 seconds in the building, because the bottom shelf is where the identical product without the marketing budget lives. 4, know your exit before you go in. Decide what you came for at the door, and treat everything between you and it as scenery. You are not shocking. You are extracting. None of this makes you immune. I'm not immune, and I know all of it. But it moves you from prey to participant. And that is the whole difference. Because the real thing I want you to take out of here isn't a list of tricks. It's a shift in who you think is responsible. You have spent years quietly assuming that the extra $40 was a personal failing, a discipline problem, something a bit wrong with you. It wasn't you. It was a floor plan, a playlist, and a shelf at exactly the height of your eyes. The room was built to win. Knowing that it was built at all is most of the fight. Anyway, I went back on Thursday. Basket, not trolley. Headphones in, my music, my tempo. Straight down the side, to the back wall, and out. 11 minutes. $4.09. Total triumph. I did forget the milk again. But this time, it was entirely on purpose, because I spent so long being smug about the basket that I walked directly past it. And I would like to be very clear that this is a completely different and much more sophisticated kind of failure.